Hello and welcome back to another episode of Come Build With Me. Today we are going to be taking a look at the Gundam RX-78-2 entry grade kit. If you've seen some of my other videos, you know in the past 4 or 5 months I've gotten into the Gunpla and building. I've done various grades. The entry grade is the most basic of basic. I've done this one before. The reason I've got this one again is because I plan on customizing it as we go through the build. So without further ado, let's take a look at the contents of the packaging, which is here. You get 1, 2, 3, 4 sprues and your instructions, which are all very simplistic walkthroughs, which we will be following a little later on. Initially you will get a off white for the main frame of the Gundam model. You get mixed colour sprues for the chest plates, inner workings, and other parts of the body. So what I'm going to do initially is get one of my trusty snippers, and I'm going to snip off the coloured bits. The reason for this is because I'm going to paint the grey bits into silver to give them a metallic look. Then other bits I will be doing throughout this video is we will be painting the underside of the feet, adding some shading to bits and pieces, and adding some weathering, some detailing, etc, etc. But yes, initially I am going to go and spray these silver. Then we will look at the assembly. So I'll be back soon. And we're back. I've now painted or sprayed these silver, and I now plan on giving these a coat in lead belcher to give them a darker metallic look. All I've done is taken some lead belcher and contrast medium, mixed them together, and now I'm just going to go over give these a nice just going over, painting these in a fine coat. Might need to layer them a couple depending how it turns out, or I might even find that the way the contrast is pulled actually gives it a nice look. This is a complete experiment for me, so we will see. When you're painting, you want to move the brush towards you, so you want to give it a sort of pull rather than a push. If you push, it will splay the bristles, you won't get such a clean coat, and it will not do the bristles on the brush any good at all. Let's see, just giving these a fine coat with the watered down lead voucher paint. Gives it a nice dark metal look. That's that one done. We'll let that dry and then do the other side of them. And do the same here. Now the thing to consider here is that where these are connected to the sprues, the paint obviously wouldn't have covered, so I may need to do some touches up once these have been popped out, but initially, in terms of ease of keeping these nice and coated without incurring fingerprints or anything of the like. Yeah, nice. The backpack for me is the main bit. This is the bit that's really going to show through. Just want to get a nice clean coat on this. I probably end up doing a few layers on this to give it real covering. I'll also be doing some toning on it as well, just to let those two sides dry, and then we'll flip them over and cover them. The other ones I want to do is the underside of the feet. So initially, I'm just going to give these a covering in the lead voucher, and this will be a case of having to build them up, and I will be doing multiple layers. despite the fact that we won't ever see the feet, or the underside of the feet rather. We'll let these dry and then we'll come back for another coat in a while. And we're back. So I went away and I painted the bits that I initially wanted painted. There will be bits I touch up once this is assembled, etc. But I felt that I'm sure nobody else wanted to watch me paint in silence for the next hour or two, so as we saw, I'd spray painted these silver and then gave them a cover in a lead belcher from Citadel Paints. I don't know how well it's showing up here, but they do have a nice brushed metal look now. I've also gone over all of the metal with Newland oil from Citadel Paints, which is a shade. So with the shade, it's seeped into the recesses and given some shadow and depth to it. I painted that yellow and then covered it in Newland oil for the target. Same here, except the backpack's now got some black paint on the jet points, while the fingers have also been painted black. The underside of the feet, similar actions. You can see I've done a couple of different colour layers here to give it depth and different joints looks. And then the other main bit I did was the back of what's going to be the shield. You can see here I've done in a dark grey with some red and then the metallic silver. So now that I've done the initial painting, we're now at a position where I can begin assembly on this. It's a simple assembly, and once done I will then be able to touch up and do additional coats and detailing as I see fit. And now we have everything laid out ready. This is an entry grade one, so actually everything just needs pushing out. And then it's all just push fit. Simple case of following the instructions. One thing I am going to do is I'm just going to paint the eyes. All I've got is a gold paint pen. Literally just going to touch these up. This is so that the eyes will stand out. There you go. There we go, that's our head assembled. Then we're on to the torso. And we need A15. Which is the other blue one, which is in here. A18. A218. So, has anyone else had a go at building these? What do you think to them? A17. A17. A110. A110. B321. There's a lot here of the white bits which I do want to paint and touch up as once I've finished to give us some real added effects to have it stand out. So with these, they are really simple. Even the more complex ones are simple enough. It's just a case of punching out the right parts and putting them together as the instructions go. Some of them can be a little delicate and fiddly, but that's not all of them, and certainly not the case with the entry grade style levels, which are really nice and simple to put together. As you can see, I'm literally just following the instructions. Everything snaps together nice and firmly. that one. And the backpack. Then what is the hilts for the sword weapons? Just plug in the back like so, and that's our torso. Or would be if I hadn't missed a step. Push that in, and that goes in like so. You get some nice range of movement here. Well, it's hard to see when it's only half built, but you get the waist joints and movement because they're all on ball joints. So we've got the body and the head done. We can go to one side now, and now we're on to the arms. We need to do 2 of those. B1, 8 and 9, and then the same from B2, B1, 4, both of those. And then we also need A212, which is these ones. A212 and A211. Then once those are plugged in, we will also want the fists. That's that one done, and then we want B17 and B27. Those 2 ports, and then B16 and B26, which are the covers. So always are really simple of just plugging them together. These go in like so, and need our covers which go on like so. Just make sure it's up the right way and snapped into place. Fists can snap on. Then these can slide over the top. With the shoulder pads or the biceps, there is only one way they fit. You can see there's a groove there, and there's the tab for the groove, so they just fit on like that. These fit into either arm, so we have our left and our right arms, and these will go so I'm going to put the figure together as a whole at the end, so they'll clip on at the end. Then we're onto the waist, so we need A13, A14, which is now that piece done, B212, which is this one, and B213 will look at it. Then B290. B111. That should be all bits. So that would take our waist. And this will plug in to the hips like that. This then just slides into the back of the waist like so. The yellow bits plug into the front of the skirt. That clips over the top like so, and then that goes and holds everything in place. So you can see it's a really simple build. That will allow movement of the legs. Then we're on to the legs themselves. We need P110s. I'm just going to punch out the shoulder and pull it to one side. Everything off there. Then we're just going to need all the bits for our legs, so I might as well just punch all these out now. Excuse me. So how's everyone else's evening going? Or day, afternoon, morning, middle of the night? Depends whenever you're watching this. As I said before, these are just simple pop-out ones. Some of the more complex ones need clippers just to pinch them out, and then potentially need a bit of sandpaper or something to file down any jagged edges. But as you can see here, you don't really get anything with the punch-out ones. They're nice and clean, or at least they're clean enough to assemble with. Of course, some of you may find that you prefer sanding them down, but that is your choice. It's your model. Do as you wish. Just punching everything else out now because there's nothing else that could get confused with or mixed up. And all the bits are just for our legs now. We'll then finish assembly. And then once assembled, I'll move on to looking at what other customization bits I wanted for these. So protect the base of the feet and clip these into place, so you can see there. We then need the ankle joint, which is on a ball joint and a clasp, so you're going to get a nice full range of movement at the foot. The shin guard goes over. And it goes on with the joint covers facing upwards like that, and then we can do the other foot while we're at it. Oops. 2 feet there, and we need legs. So they just clip together like so. Same with the other leg. Just make sure they're up the right way. All the ports align and plug in together. Then these will plug into our leg, sorry, into our feet. Yes. So you want the calf muscle facing backwards, like so. Covers will go on like so, like so. These two bits plug together like so. And the same with this one. And make sure everything's up the right way. And then take our knee joints and just see that these plug in like that, and like that, and then we get a back plate cover for them. And then you can see we're going to get a nice bend, double bend at the knees. We get a full range at the foot. Oh. Yeah, cool. So you can get some real nice range of movement here. And these are just the basic ones. The more complex ones do have some really, really impressive articulation with them. Then these plug in, one for either side, and then we can just assemble our Gundam together. So the head pops on, arms pop in, and again with everything on ball joints you're going to get nice ranges of movement. And clip in, that clips on, they clip down, plugs into the waist, legs plug into the ball joints and the hips, and then there's some skirt pieces at the waist. And that's the Gundam assembled. We do have the accessories. So all we have here is our shield and swords. We don't have swords on this one actually. It's got the ports for the swords, but it doesn't have any, which is fine. I've got some FX parts lying around from another Gundam I can use for this one. So sword, gun blaster just plugs together nicely like that, with the target going between them both. And that gets a swivel so you can move it around as you need to. Shield plugs in with the cross coming down like that, and then this just plugs into point so that it can be held as a shield, or alternatively you can, if you can get it out, slide this down like that, so it's closed, and then it'll just plug onto the peg there, which is something I prefer personally. And last, just slides in the rest. Well, there we go. There's our Gundam. So you can see here you get a full range of movement at the head, full outwards, full rotation. Sometimes they catch on the ball joints, but it's fine to just plug them back on. Get a nice range of movement at the elbows. With the ball joints you get a full range of movement at the wrists. You get multiple points at the waist and torso. Legs are on ball joints, so they move nice and freely. Double points at the knees, and as you've seen, we get plenty of movement on the feet as well. So there is our Gundam. As I said, I'm going to touch this up with some other decals or some other paint apps. Namely, I'm going to panel line this, so as you'll see in a bit, I'm going to take some panel lining and shade around all of the joint parts to give it some more depth, and then I'm going to rough it up a bit and make it look a little more metallic with some dry brushing, maybe some score marks, etc. But we'll be back in a bit with this all touched up as I want it. And as you can see now, I've done a little bit of panel lining on the figure into the recesses, give it some depth, shading and effects. After this I'm going to add some various detailings and effects, but I just wanted to give a quick update here on what I'm doing with it. You can see the panel lining there. If anyone's curious, all I've done is taken the Newland oil, given it a shake, literally just dip the pen brushing like that, and then slowly dragged it down the recesses so that the paint sinks into the recesses. Then if there's any overspill, just taking some rubbing alcohol, put it on a Q-tip and just cleaned it up. Make sure it's dry first, otherwise it will absorb all of the paint. Otherwise, where it's once it's dried, it will just take off the layer, but it won't seep into the recesses, leaving the shading. And here we have the finished Gundam model. So the question is, what did I do? After assembly, as I briefly showed, I did the panel lining, which added depth into the recesses of this. I added red lining around there, various markings throughout the unit, and then I used a dry brush to really scruff and bash this up. So you can see here it does look dirty and worn, battle ready, and it's come out pretty much as I wanted it. I really like how this is looking. I think it's going to look nice on the shelf. And it's amazing what a little bit of touch-up does to a £10 toy. So this model kit was £10 itself, and I've probably used a couple of Citadel paints, which probably came to about £10 themselves. So, and even then, you know, I haven't used all the paints. I only used the briefest amounts. So, for what amounts to 20 quid, you can make yourself a really decent little toy to sit on your shelf. The shielding, as I've previously shown, I did the painting on the back. I've scruffed up the front, and this will now sit on the arm unit. Painted the gun which will go into his hand like so, and then I've taken the sword lock beams from another spare unit I had and literally just put the sword in his hand, and now he is ready to pose and go on the shelf with the others. And there he is on the shelf with the others I currently own. As you can see with the others I've done slight panel lines, but this is probably the one I've done the most customizing to. And it really does stand out as a different unit compared to the others. I don't know how well you can see. Let's move him if I can without knocking everything. That is the deluxe version of the starter kit of that one. The only difference I'm aware of is that it came with a couple of extra accessories, but you can see how it essentially starts out and how some additional touch-ups can really bring it out and give it a life of its own. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll be back soon.